Davis from Northampton Police. We're here tonight because this is 7 days on since Jamie McMahon came onto the town centre for a night out, and at the end of that night out, whilst he was taking a shortcut through St Giles churchyard, he was murdered. And this investigation is to look for witnesses or people who were on the town centre last week around about the times between about 11 and 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And we're particularly looking for people who may have seen Jamie, who know Jamie, or who've seen or heard anything suspicious in the area of the town centre, specifically around St Giles churchyard. The public have been very supportive. We recognise, having met the family yesterday, that Jamie was just a normal 26-year-old lad, very well liked, very well respected, who unfortunately was murdered after he had a night out in the town centre and was walking home. Okay, Jamie started his night out last week in Cooper's in the snooker club. He had a game of snooker which he really enjoyed, and left there and had a couple of beers in 1 or 2 pubs in town. The last pub he visited was the Bantam, before going to a takeaway shop just behind me in York Road. After leaving the takeaway shop at about 2:10, he came into the St Giles churchyard as a cut through on his way home. He would have used this before. It wasn't a regular route he took, but he has used it before, and he was clearly attacked in here sometime shortly after about 2:10 last week. One of the things we're doing tonight, we're using uniformed officers together with special constables and PCSOs to put in an appearance around the town centre, speak to people who are out and about, reassure the public and make sure they're aware that we are doing everything we can to identify who's involved in this offence and bring those people to justice. We will maintain increased street patrols over the next few days and weeks to make sure the public have some reassurance around that. I do have to stress that these are one-off events. This is absolutely tragic. It's very, very rare, and that's why we're determined to find out who was responsible and bring them to justice. Okay, this is St Giles churchyard. Just behind me is the entrance that Jamie would have taken last week, where he entered the churchyard on his way home, eating his food. To my left you can see the footpath there he would have taken through, and just about 50 metres from where I'm standing is where we found Jamie's body. And again, just to remind people that he came into this churchyard at about 2:10 last Wednesday morning, 2nd of October. As he walked through, he was attacked, certainly beaten around the head, and his wallet, money, driving licence and cash stolen from him. I accept that we had about 5 hours before Jamie's body was discovered, and that's where I'm looking for anybody who may have been in the park or in the area who may have seen Jamie laying there. They may not have recognised what had actually taken place, and that's why it wasn't reported. But somebody must have seen people hanging about here who were acting suspiciously. It's quite likely that Jamie would have been attacked fairly soon after he entered the churchyard, and we're looking for people who were seen in the area acting suspiciously around about 2:10 or 2:15 last Wednesday. And just to remind people, the aim of tonight is to put out that public reassurance message. We've got officers out in the street tonight in uniform and in plain clothes, speaking to members of the public, throwing out suggestions to them, and making sure they understand the nature of the investigation, and also making sure the premises that were visited by Jamie last week, we're visiting those premises, speaking to staff and customers, and putting posters up in a number of outlets in the hope that somebody will see Jamie's photograph and that will remind them of something they've seen last week.